Hello everybody and welcome back to another brand new video where I've got the announcement of a very exciting new project that I'm going to be starting very soon. So yes, as you can see from the title, I am going to be fairly soon starting a new Doctor Who podcast. And this podcast, I kind of was thinking a lot, for a while I've wanted to do a Doctor Who podcast of some form, but I haven't really been able to figure out exactly like what I wanted to do, what really interested me, what would actually be somewhat original. Because I know there's many a Doctor Who podcast out there that you can go and listen to, you know, review a Doctor Who story or discuss it, or, you know, just ones that are kind of just talking about the show and just talking about episodes. I didn't want it to be that because I felt like, you know, you've got other places to go if you want to hear that. So I thought about, what do I want to listen to that nobody does already, like isn't there for me to be able to listen to? And for me personally, as I think people who subscribe to me are probably aware, I'm quite big into the physical media releases of Doctor Who, so the Blu-rays and the DVDs and some of the CD soundtrack releases. All those kind of things are very much the sort of biggest parts of Doctor Who, and certainly from a merchandising point of view, that interests me. Looking at all the great documentaries they produce on both the DVD and the Blu-ray range nowadays, there's so much fantastic stuff in there, archival content, the restoration that goes into the episodes, all these kind of things. And I thought, there's just not really anybody actually talking about it, and certainly in podcast form. There's one or two YouTube channels maybe talk about it a little bit, but I just felt like it's such a fascinating and interesting topic that sort of there's so much to explore, so many different, you know, documentaries and things that have been released, things that will be released in the future, and just so much to discuss that I thought, why didn't I make a podcast about it instead? So yes, it's going to be a podcast I'm not sure exactly how frequent it'll be. It'll probably be every 2, 3, 4 weeks, something like that. Just kind of discussing upcoming Blu-ray and DVD releases and that kind of thing. So obviously yesterday we had the Season 8 Blu-ray collection release. So certainly, you know, going forwards in the podcast, there'll be lots of discussion about the different features on the release like that, what we think's really good, really not so good. Just sort of analysing it and looking at sort of the things that are the extra stuff, not just the episodes themselves, but the extras, because I feel like you can go anywhere to get a discussion about the demons or Terror of the Autons, but can you really go anywhere to get a discussion about the Terrence and Me documentary or Devil's Weekend documentary? Though I don't think you're going to find it elsewhere. So that's what I kind of want this podcast to be all about, really. There'll also be, you know, looking back on releases from the past, like one of the DVD range releases from a few years ago, in a sort of historic sort of section of the podcast I think I'll be looking at as well. Alongside looking at some of the sort of restoration that went into the episodes when they've sort of been released, colorization techniques, just different things around that, where I want it to be kind of interesting, informative, but also fun. So like if you're really into all this kind of stuff, then hopefully you'll get kind of, you know, fun discussion and interesting stuff out of it. But also if you're not quite as up to date with it all, then there's still going to be a lot of discussion about that you can kind of engage with and hopefully help for you to guys to, I don't know, learn a bit more about sort of the classic Who releases, but also new Who releases as well. Now we get to the all of this is important, but now the kind of big important moment is that this podcast is an opportunity for you guys to get directly involved in a project that I'm working on, because I don't have a specific co-host in mind currently. I'm obviously going to, you know, kind of anchor the podcast, I guess you would say, but I'm also very much looking for other people who are passionate about the Doctor Who DVD and Blu-ray releases, about the documentaries, things like that, who have a real interest and passion for that and want to be able to kind of come on and talk about it on the podcast from time to time, whether it be in a, you know, a permanent co-host role, or whether it be kind of occasionally coming on and sort of rotating around a few different people. I really want you guys to get involved. So the big question is, of course, how do you do that? So essentially, if you're willing to accept it, I'm going to set you guys a little challenge, which just gives me an opportunity to kind of understand who's really going to sort of work on the podcast well, or whether you might be fitted in better in a different role within it, and that kind of thing. So my sort of task, my challenge for you is to record a short sort of video or audio segment, because it's a podcast, it can basically just be audio, of maybe 2 to 3 minutes in length, where you just kind of talk about one specific Doctor Who documentary or DVD or Blu-ray release. So it can be like, you know, it can be the Season 8 box set if you want, and just have a little bit of a discussion as to why you really enjoyed that release, or sort of some of the really good and bad points about it, just to kind of, you know, show your kind of passion for the range and for the different documentaries and things that they do, and also that, you know, you can sort of, you've got a good voice for the podcast and that you'd really sort of fit in the role. And I'm going to try and involve as many different people as possible. So please don't feel like, if you're not so sure about it, if you're going to be that great, then don't let that put you off sort of getting involved and going for it and doing it. And so what I'd ask is that you sort of record that, and if you can, put that together and upload it to YouTube. It can be unlisted or whatever, and then send the link to me via my EMS Productions email address. So that email address, which is on screen right now, is emsproductions.dw@gmail.com. I'll also stick that in the comments and the description as well. And so if you want to just directly send me an audio file or a video file rather than upload it to YouTube, also feel free to do it that way. But yeah, I'm going to give you guys a bit of time, maybe a week or two, I think, to probably get in your entries, your sort of, your just 2 or 3 minute piece discussing a classic Doctor Who DVD, Blu-ray release, specific documentary, just anything around that to show your passion, your interest in it. And then hopefully I'll be able to get back to a lot of you guys and get some of you involved in the start of the new podcast. So yes, that's about it for this little exciting announcement video, I guess you'd call it. It's also worth mentioning people who are wanting Megan Reacts. At the moment, there won't be any more Megan Reacts due to personal reasons. Don't want to go into it, but there won't be. But fear not, Megan Reacts will return at some point in the future. It's not in any way the end of Megan Reacts. It's just going to be off the air for a few weeks, as it were. And of course, as you guys have seen on screen, hopefully throughout this video, this podcast is called KerVAM. Which I thought was a very clever title. Maybe you guys don't think that, but I think it's quite fun because, VAM, as you guys, if you're really into it, know, stands for value added material, or is the official term for special features on a DVD or Blu-ray. And there's a Doctor episode called Kablam, which also kind of is about a space Amazon. So I felt like, the connections are there, really. I just thought it was quite fun. So yeah, hopefully, if you guys are in your intros, you might be able to get involved with KerVAM.
KerVAM!
But yes, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this quick little video just to give you a little update and an announcement as well. I will be back at some point soon to give a bit of a review and discussion on the Season 8 Blu-ray, having it been released yesterday. Hopefully by the end of this week or so, I'll be able to have watched some of the documentaries and have a little chat about it on the channel. But apart from that, guys, as always, hit the like button, the subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you again very soon for a brand new video. Goodbye!